We better get started because it's going to take another hour to get the candidates up here. I'm Jerry Connolly, and I'm the chairman of the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors. And I am so glad we're all here. Because tomorrow we're going to make some history in the state of Virginia, right? It's a beautiful day, and I got the privilege of introducing our first speaker this morning. He has been a great friend of Northern Virginia and a great governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Please give a warm Fairfax welcome to His Excellency Governor Tim Kaine.
Great. Well, I said to Jerry Connolly as we got on stage, it'll take an hour for the remaining Democratic candidates to get up here. We got so many great Democrats running this year. And to all of you for coming out, you do this line of work, and every once in a while you got to ask yourselves why you do it. You ask now why, because it's time consuming. There's a lot of miles in the car, and I don't know if you've noticed, but politics isn't always pleasant. I mean, sometimes there's some tough stuff, but I know why I do this when I look at you. I look at who Virginia is, and especially here's what I see. At the end of so many races, throughout our history as a nation, and in every part of this country, it comes down to one party is really about optimism and hope, and one party is who are we mad at and who are we afraid of. And that's really the way a lot of races go. And as I look out at you, I see a lot of people with smiles on their faces. I see a lot of people who are optimistic and upbeat and hopeful about tomorrow. I don't see a lot of people who are grim or down on their neighbor or beating anybody up. I see people who are excited, and we ought to be, because we got a lot to be proud of, and with your help on Tuesday, we'll win more races, be even prouder, and keep moving Virginia forward. Yeah! There's a lot of, it has been my great pleasure to have this opportunity to serve Virginians, and it has been my great pleasure to work with a lot of great candidates. You're going to hear from many of them who are here today, but just do all you can. I can guarantee you this, we wake up Wednesday morning, because this is a relatively low turnout year, there are going to be races all over this Commonwealth that are decided just by a few votes. I can guarantee that. When turnout is low, the margins between win and loss is low also. We want to wake up on Wednesday morning feeling good about winning those close races, because we made that extra call. We went into our classroom or our workplace or our dorm or our church and encouraged people to get out and vote. So it's very, very important, even here with just 1.5 days left, do all you can to get that extra voter out, to call that family member or friend, and we all have them, who may or may not participate, and tell them why it's important. That we love a Virginia that is the best managed state in America. We love a Virginia with a strong business climate, and especially we love a Virginia, and all these candidates up here share this, that values public education and the investments that we make in learning. So, you guys have a great next 36 hours. I got many a stop, and I'll be back up here tomorrow night for a big victory party with y'all.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to now, if you'll hold your applause, I'm going to introduce our candidates who are on the ballot tomorrow, all of whom we want to win. First of all, did I mention I'm on the ballot tomorrow? Okay, now here they go. We are joined today by Delegate Jim Scott, Delegate Mark Sickles, Delegate Dave Marsden, Delegate Dave Poisson, Senator Mark Herring, Delegate Dave Bouleva, Marty Van de Heide, the next delegate from House District 34, Rex Simmons, the next delegate from House District 40, George Barker, the next state senator from State Delegate Vivian Watts, Mike McClanahan, the next Springfield supervisor, Gail Evans, the next clerk of the court, Supervisor Sharon Bolova Braddock District Supervisor Penny Gross of Mason District. Senator Dick Saslaw, who we're going to hear from in a minute. Delegate Brian Moran, who we're going to hear from in a minute. Senator Creedy. The next state senator replacing Ken Cuccinelli, Janet Olson. Our host today, who's not on the ballot, but Alan Merton. Where are you, Alan? President Alan Merton. Okay, let me see. Others, Bruce Rummelt. Is Delegate Ward Armstrong here? Where are you, Ward? There you are. And then, of course, the next state senator from my home district, Jack Peterson. Commonwealth Attorney Ray Morrow. I see Bob Brink is here. Hey, Bob. Eichner, Il Young Moon on the school board. Who have I forgotten? Liz Griffith on the school board. Jeff McKay, the next supervisor from Lee District. Did I say Chuck Caputo? Chuck Caputo, Delegate Chuck Caputo. And Kate Corey, the school board member from Mason District. Mary Margaret Whip, where are you, Mary Margaret Whipple? And then we got the sheriff of Fairfax County, and he is still going to be the sheriff of Fairfax County, Stan Barry. Steve Shannon, did I get you? Y'all get Steve Shannon.
Still Evans.
And John Faust, where are you, John Faust? The next supervisor from Gainesville District. Bob Howell, Delegate Bob Howell from Mason District.
You called Dale Evans, did you?
Yep,
Oh, you did. Never mind.
All right.
It's okay.
There may be more later. Now, I want you to give a warm Fairfax welcome to the caucus chair in the House, who's going to make sure we have a majority after tomorrow night. Give a warm welcome to Delegate Brian Moran.
A wonderful thing that you almost have as many people on the stage as in the crowd. You all look great. Thank you. In the last election, we were here in Fairfax County, came through. We elected the 4 Davids and a Chuck, and I know you'll bring them all back, and this time you'll bring Rex and Margie. Rex, Margie, and Bruce, David, and Chuck, and Steve. My goodness, oh, I'm going down the line here. And Chuck, I know that's the Senate. Dick Saslaw's going to talk about the Senate, but you know, I'm so excited because I was back there in 2001 as caucus chairman. We were down to as few as 33 members. 33 members, and times were tough, but we kept up democratic principles. We recognized it was important to invest in education and preserve the Chesapeake Bay and invest in people.
Yes.
Invest in people. So we're excited to bring change.
Yes.
This tomorrow, we will bring change to the General Assembly.
Yes.
It is time for change. When the other side of the aisle dismisses the potential and promise of stem cell research, it is time for a change. When the other side of the aisle dismisses the workers of Virginia and the work they do by refusing to raise the minimum wage, it's time for a change. And when they see our constituents stuck in traffic every day, all they can do is bring a Washington-style gimmick of abusive driver fees. It's time for a change. Democrats and Republicans. They see problems and challenges as an opportunity to divide us. We see problems and challenges as opportunity to unite us as Virginians. Democrats, Independents, and yes, Republicans. We will solve problems. We will govern. We will continue to move Virginia forward. When we saw our children needed health insurance, we enrolled 98% of our children in children's health insurance. State police starting salary made them eligible for food stamps. We invested in our brave men and women in law enforcement and gave them salaries that they deserve. So friends, we have challenges ahead. We need to improve our education so that all Virginians have the opportunity to realize their God-given potential. We have challenges ahead in the environment. We need to preserve our environment for our children and our children's children. But serious challenges require serious solutions, and serious solutions require serious leaders. They're before you today, and they need to get elected tomorrow. You all, Virginia responded. We had to replace a great Democratic governor, Mark Warren, and we replaced him with a great Democratic governor, Tim Kaine. And when this nation needed leadership, when this nation needed a leader that would get us out of this war and bring back our brave troops and reunite our families, Virginia elected Jim Webb. So you've done it before. I know you'll do it again. Tomorrow, let's elect
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian, for those quiet, thoughtful words. He's excited, and that's what you need. You need passion in politics. It makes a big difference. And last year, when everybody said it couldn't be done, we had a candidate for the United States Senate who decided it could be, that he could make a change. And gradually, throughout the state of Virginia, he persuaded people to his cause. Nowhere more so than here in Fairfax County. Because on election day last year, we gave this guy a 64,000 vote plurality and put him over the top. Our Senator, Jim Webb.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And, actually driving over here this morning, I was thinking about 1 year ago today and how close everything was and how the people of Northern Virginia stepped forward. They believed in what we were saying. I see so many of you out here today who made that difference by going out and knocking on the doors and doing the same sort of things that you're going to be doing tonight to make sure that we pull this off again tomorrow. I'm looking at a sign right here, waiting to speak. It's the Northern Virginia Labor Council, AFL-CIO. Tremendous support that we've always received from organized labor. Last year, I'm proud to say that I was the first statewide candidate in the history of Virginia to walk a union picket line during a strike during the campaign. I had a lot of advisors saying that probably wasn't a very smart thing to do when Virginia is 48 in the country in terms of union participation. But you know something, it may have not been a smart political thing to do, I don't know. But it was the right thing to do. And that's what we have to focus on. What the right thing to do. We all know the issues. They've been debated for months. This has been a brutally fought campaign all across the Commonwealth. It's been frequently a negative campaign. But it boils down to two or three things, friends. The first is we have leaders. If you look at the people behind me here, every person behind me is an affirmative leader who believes in finding solutions rather than dividing the people of Virginia.
Yes.
The second thing is we do have unity. We have a unity as a party. When you look at the other side, I keep seeing all these mixed messages. You know, not long ago, we saw this talk about how the other party represented Virginia values. And then you started thinking about what are they talking about here? What are the Virginia values they're talking about? And the Virginia values that they're talking about are the values that they agree with, not the values that people in Virginia agree with. And, quite frankly, a lot of those are the policies of exclusiveness, not inclusiveness. We need to think about that. When we come to you to ask you to consider the issues that we want to govern on, we bring our leaders. They have a record. It's a record of inclusiveness. It's a record of solving problems. I don't think Anybody up here brought the mayor of New York City down to try to how Virginians want to conduct their own affairs? I don't think anybody up here brought some congressman from Iowa into Prince William County to try to talk about how Prince William County ought to run its affairs. We got the leaders. And the most important thing is we have got to put our feet on the ground and get our people out to vote tomorrow. Yes. Last year, Chairman Connolly pointed out, there were 2.1 million votes cast in our election. We won by 10,000 votes. Free Deeds up here lost a statewide election by less than 500 votes. This is a down year in the election cycle because there's no statewide candidates on the ballot, there's no president on the ballot. The people who really care are going to get out the vote. We are going to get out the vote. You know, Brian Moran, who just spoke to you and was about 5 cups of coffee ahead of me this morning. I looked at him the other day, and he mentioned that his father was a football coach, and that his father used to tell him and his 4 brothers that you got to leave it on the field. You know, when you go out to play a game, you got to leave it on the field. I was a boxer, as many of you know. I was a boxer for 8 years of my life. And every coach I had said the same thing to me. You know, you can train all you want, and you can care all you want, but when you step into the ring, if you start slacking off just in the time you're in the ring, that's the time that's going to count. And you're going to live with it for the rest of your life. When the last bell rings, and you're waiting for the judge to come out and score that card, you want to know that you've left nothing behind in the ring. And that's very similar to politics, friends. It's you against that other person when you decide to run for office. And all of us have got to back our people and make sure that Wednesday, if we see these margins of victory, we know that we did everything we could. Let's help these people. I'm with you. Let's bring them to Democratic Society.
Isn't it nice to have a United States Senator who's written more books than George Allen ever read? Jim Webb makes us all proud to be Virginians. And he's going to go back and chair the Senate today. So say another warm thank you, Jim Webb. You know, when we elect Jeff McKay and Mike McClanahan and John Faust to join Penny and Sharon and my other colleagues on the newly enhanced Democratic Board of Supervisors, we need allies in Richmond. We've had no stauncher ally, no greater friend than the next gentleman who's going to speak to us. And if we do our work tomorrow, we're going to make him the new majority leader of the State Senate of Virginia, Dick Satzlaw. Thank you all.
You know, just ask yourself this: would you rather be us or them? Cut through all their hype. And by the way, you heard the remarks by Senator Webb about the type of campaigns they run. I've been in the General Assembly 32 years, and you want to know what makes me the proudest to be a Democrat? I have never seen one of our candidates ever try to turn a political nickel at the expense of some other group. And that is essentially what they've done for the last several years. Look at their campaigns. They have run just one bit of demagoguery after the next. It is almost never ending. You don't ever hear them talk about any issue other than one that they think can appeal to the basest instincts of a human being. That's what the Republican Party has come to today. And I'll tell you, we just came from a rally for Chuck Hogan, and Chuck's going to win this thing tomorrow.
Yes!
There was a picture, and I remarked about that. There was a picture in that restaurant that we were in as part of the Hometown Inn, and it was a picture of General Eisenhower taken by Life magazine on the cover just after he had commanded the Allied invasion of Normandy. As you know, he became the 34th president. General Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, could not be nominated for a single office in the Republican Party today. And I can tell you right now, if he was here, standing here, he would be backing all of our 8 Democratic candidates. And that's the difference between us and them. We've been a party of ideas. We've been a party that makes them happen. They've been a party of chutzpah. I'll tell you this. There was a statement by the Speaker of the Virginia House of Delegates saying, y'all know what chutzpah is, right? That, in basis terms, that's the guy that's hauled before a judge in charge with murdering his mom and dad, and he pleads for mercy on the grounds that he's an orphan. That's what they did. There was a statement by, listen to this, there was a statement by the Speaker of the House, and he talked about how under his speakership that school salaries had risen this much, money for health care, money for child care, all this had gone up. Never mind that he and most of his caucus voted against it, okay? It went up simply because of the efforts of this gentleman here, who you're going to hear from next. It was his effort to convince 17 House Republicans to go ahead and vote for the budget reform that we had in 2004. The Speaker and every one of his cohorts voted against it. That's what that party stands for. It is essentially to do away with government where government is needed most. Our party, on the other hand, look at what it's given America. Turn around and take a look at these buildings here, okay? Most of these buildings were put here by a Democratic General Assembly. They were put here back in the 70s and 80s by people who had the foresight to know that we needed to provide higher education for the people of Northern Virginia in the realm of a first-class university. And that's what we built here today. Had these people been in existence, we wouldn't have, and ruled the General Assembly, we wouldn't have had any of this. Mills Godwin, when he ran as a Democrat and was a Democratic governor back in the 60s, Mills Godwin initiated the sales tax to pay and start up a community college system. Every one of these guys would have voted against it. We wouldn't have a community college system. So we've got about 30 hours to go, and then this will be over. And as Jim Webb said, we don't want to leave anything on the field. We want to make sure that we've expended every effort we've had. And when they start counting those ballots, we want to be on top. If things go as I think they're capable of going, we're going to recapture the Senate tomorrow. If Ward Armstrong and Brian do what I think they're capable of doing, we're going to make some things happen in Virginia starting next January. And with your help, that's exactly what we will do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim. Our final speaker today turned Virginia around. He showed that a progressive administration can be successful in Virginia. He righted the finances that had been a mess under his predecessor. I won't even name him. You'll know. And went on to have an extraordinarily successful administration, putting together bipartisan coalitions, but also strengthening our party and our hold in Richmond. He's going to be the next United States Senator from Virginia. Welcome to our own Governor and soon-to-be Senator. Thank you. All right. How y'all doing? You guys look great from up here. I kept wondering why all the speech makers were going on and on. You all look so good. You can believe it is November 3rd. Or I wouldn't believe it's November 3rd or 4th. I know. No, it's not. No. All the candidates say, please don't make it November 3rd or 4th. Well, I want to just take a couple minutes to echo what's already been said. Because it is important what we do tomorrow. And those of us who are Democrats here, people have made mention of it already. Think about where we were
6 years ago. The legislature, as Dick and Brian have indicated, we were down 2-1. There wasn't a statewide elected Democrat anywhere. Basically, the other side had said they're going to put Virginia in the red column, in the Republican column, and lock it up and throw away the key. But we, and I say thank you to all of you, we believe we could do a different kind of job. And in 2001, you gave Tim and I, and a lot of these folks up here, the tools to try to put Virginia back on the right path. And there's an extraordinary amount of things that we, as Virginians, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Virginians ought to be proud of. We took a state that was in deficit, turned it into surplus, and along the way got named the best managed state in America. We realized as well that if Virginia was going to prosper, we had to bring jobs, not just to Northern Virginia, but to all parts of the state. And we were recognized by Forbes magazine as the best state in the country to start and grow a business. Because we took on the battle of fixing our finances, we were able to make the largest investment ever in public education in Virginia. As well as starting to return the kind of dollars that have been taken away from what I believe is the nation's best public higher education system, our colleges and universities right here in the Commonwealth. And we got named, this is not Mark Warner spin or Democrat spin. We got named by Education Week. If a child could be born anywhere in America, where would that child be born in terms of future educational opportunity? The Commonwealth of Virginia. So started down the path to reverse the trend of not preserving our open space and making sure that we could keep our natural resources in the kind of shape that we could pass them on to our kids and grandkids. We made the single largest investment in the cleanup of the Chesapeake Bay in Virginia history. Some of you may have followed what our president has been doing recently. But amongst the litany of things, one thing, once again, he's showing that he will override Democrats, Republicans, all Americans' views. Luckily, our great Senator Jim Webb and others have been fighting on this with his veto of children's health insurance. Now, one of the things that didn't get as much attention, the fact that prior to Democratic control in the General Assembly, we were sending money back to Washington rather than signing up kids for children's health insurance. Well, during our time, we turned that around. The Kaiser Foundation recognized the Commonwealth of Virginia as the best state in the country in terms of signing up kids for children's health insurance. Now, I mention all that because that's something we should all be proud of. And to be honest, and I know I may get pushed off the stage by some of the folks behind me, that took place because it was not just Democrats, but Republicans and independents alike came together and put the interest of Virginia first. Now you would think the other side would celebrate that. But no, what they have tried to do time and again is that those members of the House and the Senate that worked in a bipartisan fashion, they were castigated, they were chastised, they were run against in Republican primaries. Because as each speaker has said, so far what we've heard from the other side is no, is divisiveness, and no vision of how Virginia can truly compete and make sure everybody gets that fair shot that makes our state so special. Now we are verged tomorrow on another great victory. And what these men and ladies who are behind me, who are running, I don't expect them to go to Richmond and do everything Governor Kane wants to do simply because he's a Democrat. I want them to go and bring an independent voice. But what I desperately want them to do as well is not reflexively say no. because everything that Tim and I tried to propose, the other side didn't offer an alternative, they simply said no. And Tim Kaine, and let me tell you, I hated giving up being governor. Nothing sweeter than being called His Excellency. But I am so proud of the job that Tim Kaine is doing. And if we want to continue expanding our open space, making sure we've got a progressive energy policy in this country, making sure that children go to school ready to learn in terms of at-risk 4-year-olds, if we want to make sure we continue to invest in education, if we want to make sure that the way to solve our transportation problems isn't a $3,000 speeding ticket, if we want to make sure that we keep Virginia receiving the kind of accolades that we received in recent years, we've got to make sure we send legislators that will go and at least meet him halfway. So you do your part tomorrow, let these folks continue to do their part, and not only will we as Democrats, but more importantly, we as Virginians tomorrow night will have a great victory.
You all booed George Bush, and that was a mistake. Let me tell you why. From Virginia's point of view, and especially here in Northern Virginia, he's the gift that keeps on giving. All right, we have just a few hours before the polls open, and you've heard all the stakes in this election. We Democrats stand for something in terms of values. We have an opportunity to persuade our fellow citizens tomorrow that they share those values too, and make a transformation in the General Assembly, the Board of Supervisors, the school board, and our constitutional offices. Here in Fairfax, we're on the verge of a sweep. Please, make those last phone calls. Lick those last envelopes. Knock on those last doors, and we'll have a big victory tomorrow night. God bless you all for being here.